Need some help?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
26. No.
Everybody got one?
If we get two, the number is done.
I think so. I think you have that. Actually,
I put it in all of the packets.
everybody has one in their packet. I'm going to put something back on the desk. If you think anybody or your neighbors may want one or whatever, got that? Okay. I'm going to put some extras back on the tables, and the rest of these will live. How many? The rest of these will live at City Hall, and you can come pick one up, or you catch somebody, come pick them up.
Thank you.
Alright, well, great way to start off my first full week meeting.
Sorry. I was dealing with a little medical emergency in Mountain Home.
Trying to rule with an iron fist. Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting into session of City Workshop, November 11th and 10th, November 10th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Councilman Hutchinson.
Here.
Councilman Webb.
Here.
Councilman Mikey.
Here.
Councilman Bullen.
Here.
Councilman Green.
Here.
Councilman Howe.
Here.
Bill
Mayor Stallman is with family this week. He wasn't able to join us. All right. Any questions about the council minute meetings from October?
I got a question. I brought up, I interacted with a lawyer on Poochie's resignation. We needed to accept her resignation or not. And I would like that documented.
Okay.
And the resolution on that was that we in fact did not need to vote on it.
Correct.
Any other council meeting questions? Moving on to treasurer report. Any questions for the treasury report? Going once, going twice, moving on. Reports submitted. Any questions on reports submitted? I have one, go ahead, Mike. At the planning and zoning, there was discussion about the code book, and making it easier. Has there been any more, has there been any other, board motion on any game plan for clearing that up? I know Dave Higgins, before he left, had something going on with some database, but I didn't know if there was anything.
No, the only thing as far as the database was we were going to get a digital copy of the codes. I had spoken with the gentleman that originally set up our codes. He was telling me that he was under the impression a lot of cities are going to a much simpler format for their codes, only because it doesn't matter how intense our codes get, attorneys are going to pick it apart no matter what. With that said, he was going to go over the codes and get back to me, and I haven't heard back from him, nor have I called him, to be honest with him, but I think Mr. Mike King was going to reach out to him. I don't know what happened with that.
I didn't know.
Okay.
Also, Mike, I talked with Mr. Higgins, and we just haven't been able to coordinate our schedule, but he is going to hand over everything that he has, and he was very happy to do so. You're correct, he's worked on a lot of things, and it's just been a scheduling problem, as he was on vacation and then kind of out of pocket, so.
That time of year.
Yep.
I got one other question, for street department. When is the city gonna decide when we're gonna put up treatment plants?
After Thanksgiving?
After Thanksgiving? Okay. And we got our own bucket truck to do that, correct? We do.
Any more questions?
Bill, what's the status of the bucket truck? I know.
We have that.
Okay, all right. I'm right that it was in for repair, correct?
Yes, no, we got that. now.
Okay, good. So it's in total working order?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Ready to go.
I suppose this would go along with reports submitted, but just to kind of clear the air before the rumor mills get going, we should probably address the packet and planning and zoning we got in relation to the petroleum company. So rumors like fly around here, but we received, and planning and zoning received plans from Casey's. I know a lot of people know that they are eyeing the lot across from Eastwood Brothers Marine next to Arvis. This is in no way, shape, or form a done deal. There's a contract currently with the real estate company that apparently won't close till April, but a company like Casey's doesn't put together a huge packet like this if they're not starting to get their feet in the sand, so it's something to look forward to. Along with that, they have put in a driveway access permit with RDOT. Planning and zoning has requested that we as a council do a formal letter type thing to support them in this, to help them along in the process with RDOT. I'm sure Casey's has great relations with them already, but it's a little legwork for us to be a part of the process and let them know that we're behind Casey's plan here. So it's just something we need to, be a little bit vocal about and possibly send in to RDOT. Other than that, as mentioned, we do have plans. It's not a done deal, but we have been formally engaged with Casey's about that lot. Good things are happening. Any questions on that for other people?
Are there any other requirements? I'm not sure if our term requirements that we as a city might be called upon to, look at as far as approving all of the stuff that's going to go into that lot?
I believe, from what I've been told from planning and zoning, that our building inspector is engaged in that, and also there will come a time when, as a council, we will have to vote on the entries and exits to Hilltop Road, I believe.
Well, that was one thing. The other thing is what about gas tanks and things like that?
Obviously, they'll have, this is Casey's, they're not new to this game. As far as we go, they'll just have to make sure their soil testing and all their approvals from the state. I don't see
Well,
what
that's what I was wondering, whether we as a city have got to approve any of that stuff that comes down the pipe.
planning and zoning.
I don't believe so. That's regulated by the state. The city has no jurisdiction over very things. We have no rules regarding that. So the city's out of that. But I would like to say tonight, I would like to see a letter go to back to the engineers with the city's approval. I know you can't vote on anything tonight, but you could certainly all give a verbal approval so that the mayor can sign a letter and we can get it back to him tomorrow. That would be really nice.
Thoughts?
I think anything we can do to be positive and to be supportive and to let Casey's know that we're behind this is going to be a good thing. So I would agree that we should, as a council, do something. And I would leave that up to people smarter than me on planning and zoning.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking sales tax and good things for the city and infrastructure, so as a community, we've had plenty of people say, I would assume most of our constituents, that they want a gas station here, so I don't think it's beyond our proxy in this situation to verbally say, yes, it's a good thing to help this process along the way.
Well, I think that we as a group are going to be behind trying to facilitate Casey's situation. The thing that occurs to me, because I don't know, is I don't know what might be required as far as a city council, what we might have to address. Maybe Casey's, is anybody talking with Casey?
Yes, I am.
Well, if you can find out if there's any humps we've got to get over, or things we've got to approve, every time we get ready to do that and smooth and facilitate the process of the whole deal rather than.
They've already done soil compaction tests, they've done the groundwork, drilling holes and everything checks out. I've got a big stack of grass where they've done their homework.
Well, that's good. I just didn't want us as a city to hold back. I was just trying to get it in a curve.
We will not. No way.
So
We won't
there's
hear.
nothing you're aware of that we need to be.
Nothing I'm aware of.
Okay, good. I've never done that, so I didn't know.
Yeah. And the state is involved in this too,
Yes.
so,
Well, I would think, I don't know, I've never done a gas station, but I would think that because of the underground facilities, the fuel tanks and whatever runoff you get coming off of that stuff, have got into our sewer system or whatever, it might be a concern.
They, in the packet you have, Mr. Webb, that we all got this evening, there's copies of the underground drainage system that they're putting in, as well as the other things that.
Well, I'm sure Casey's, like you said, I'm sure Casey's knows all about that.
It's all in the packet as far as their runoff and all that other things.
I'm never in box of rocks about that stuff.
No, it's, when you look at the graphs, it looks like you're looking at something from NASA, and then they have some parts in there that are really explanatory, and it's like, oh, okay.
So as far as we know, this time the city council is in favor of this, and anything we can do to expedite it, we are encouraged to do. I think we're all on board with that.
Absolutely. I think Councilman Reed prefers to drive the flipping for his gas.
That's not telling you where your money.
I just know I want all of you to teach me.
All right, any more discussion on that? Good things happening in Shoals. We're all verbally
So can we make a motion or something to send them a letter? I mean, you have
There's
something.
no motion or anything tonight.
No, sure.
We just, planning and zoning, if you could please draft something that we could send off, you have our verbal support as a.
And you have a letter that I would have to sign.
You got it. Thank you, sir. Anything else on that? All right, moving on. Council member comments?
I would like to congratulate Phil for being sworn in today as our official animal control officer. You've been doing a great job so far, and I know you'll continue to do so. So I know you kind of faced a little headwind on this whole deal, and it's over, and you're sworn in. So congratulations.
Thank you.
According to our agenda, old business is no old business, so we'll move on to new business. I can't personally remember the name of the act. It's got 3 numbers in it though. And basically, we've been contacted by the state, and Susan, please correct me if I misspeak here at all. Basically, they put into law that we either need to vote to turn it into where people in our ward could only vote for the people representing them. So that would mean the people of Ward 3 could only vote for the representatives of that ward. If we don't vote yes on this, everything stays the same. We all stay representatives of the city, and the whole entire city can vote for us one-on-one, or whoever runs in the future. So, I guess we need to talk about that.
I think we need to leave it like it is, that's hard.
I agree.
My opinion is we all represent the entire community. I know we all get phone calls from different people from different wards, and we have that kind of thing going on. So to inhibit that in any way, or more voting rights is a good thing in this community. So, all right.
Am I correct? I think I remember reading something in there that says if we're already voting that way and we don't want to change it, we don't have to do anything.
That is correct. That is correct. We just had to make sure we talk about it.
And I have gotten, the only comments I've gotten, and it hasn't been many, has been to keep it the way that it is. I haven't had one person call me and say, oh, I think it's a great idea to change that. So, and I haven't gotten many, but I have, especially today. I got a bunch today. So I don't know what spurred everybody on today, but there must have been something going on I didn't know about, but I did get something. A few of them today.
They're ready.
Yeah, probably,
Anything else on that? Anybody? Okay, moving on. ARML, AD&D insurance, paying for public works director, AD&D, do we remove from list? So, for those that don't know, representatives of the city and certain department heads are covered by the city for $100,000, and that's death or dismemberment, just a little something to sweeten the job.
Accidental.
Accidental, yes. So, not to make this joke, but for me it's $80. I think for everybody else it's $100. And that goes by age.
Thanks for rubbing that in.
Yeah, being bad. But we would need to talk about adding our police chief, Councilman Greaves, Councilman Webb, and whether or not we want to maintain the public works director position in there. Should we at some time in the future appoint a public works director or when we become tired?
I think we need to be forward thinking and keep the public works director, because we need a public works director. I mean, I don't know, well, Phil, what's your opinion?
That's fine with me.
Okay, I mean, I think we need to have a public works director. The fact that we don't now is kind of showing a little bit in some of the things that aren't getting done, maybe. So I don't think eliminating that is a wise idea, because eventually we're gonna have to do that again. But that's my part.
Is it costing us any money to leave it the way it is?
It's costing us $80 a person. For the public work, because they just put a birth date in there, and it's $80, we have to pay for that spot for actual dentist, whether there's somebody in there or not, to keep it open.
So
we
because
have
there's no
to
bother
pay for
there,
it.
we still got to pay.
We still have to pay for it.
So $80, that's what, that $960 a year?
For that,
What's that, $960 a year?
for everybody, yeah, it'd be, yeah, $80 for a year for.
I didn't even know I had insurance until today. That's how much I care.
Well, I guess it strikes me, it's not hurting that much or whatever, let's just leave it alone and eventually we'll really get a position of large reader. If we go 10 years without one, I guess we can say we made a mistake.
Well, I mean, in the past, we've had, I don't want to use the word outcry, but a lot of public input that someone needs to be put into that position, you know, so, I'm sure it was something that would probably come up as we roll down the road. What would that typically pay a year? Probably nothing like the rest of our jobs here. Public work director. Right. I mean, do you know if something like that's in the budget? If we didn't have to hire someone, we could budget that.
Do we want to wait till I get down to that point here?
Sure.
Okay, let's wait till we get down to that.
Let's do it about it. You kind of keep it.
Just kind of.
Hey, Mike,
Yes, sir.
what's the enrollment requirements? If we eliminate it now, how do we get it back in?
For that particular position,
There's no sense paying $80 if it's gonna be a long period of not being insured, not insuring anybody. If we can stop it and then get him in when he's elected.
so this would start at the beginning of next year, if I'm reading this correctly. So I would say the likelihood that we're going to actively probably start looking for someone for that position is high. And if I'm also reading this correctly, we wouldn't be able to add them. So in advance, yeah, right, yeah, it'd be initially building in an incentive for a public works director.
Well, I'd like to suggest to get active on it, be
Yeah.
proactive.
Yeah, that's part of the discussion.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else on the insurance and dismemberment policy? Nope. Okay. Moving on. Looks like a change of office hours starting January 1st, 2026, to Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Friday, 8 a.m. till noon. Just wanted to work a little bit longer, huh? Okay. Twice on Friday? Oh, there you go. Board?
I'm assuming that everyone's in the office.
Is one thing this, or is asking this?
It's just 5:30 is, we've only had a few people come in after 5 o'clock. So, and then 5 to 5:30 is a long half hour. And we do get a lot of people come in between 10 and 12 on Friday. Yeah. So, we'll extend their hours on Friday and we'll still have a 40 hours in. So, I know because I worked last 2 Fridays.
I mean, I guess, how did this come about? Just because the citizens' input and y'all's input, you just,
Yeah.
because this is the new, what we're doing now
Yeah,
is
what we're
fairly
doing
new.
now is new,
Yeah.
and we thought we'd give it a try,
That's right.
and so we'll push that half hour back, and work 8 to 5, and then 8 to noon.
All right. Anything else on that topic? Moving on, budget for 2026, all departments, I believe Councilman Bullen has the floor on this.
I guess I do. In those green package, you will see the proposed budget for 2026 for all 10 departments. You'll see the water and sewer are the last two, all the rest fall under the general fund. The reason you all have a copy is because my hope is that you'll put that on the table right next to a highlighter, right next to an ink pen, or right next to a tablet. And on there, you will look at it, you will read it, you will enter questions, comments, or maybe ideas to make it more understandable and easier to read. We really need your input on this. I want you all to be invested in the budget as much as the budget committee has been invested in this for 9 months now.
May I?
Go ahead.
Okay, and then you'll see the year-to-date for 2025. The annual budget for 2025, and then the percentage that we spent so far this year, then for October. And then you can take that annual budget 2025 and compare it to the 2026 proposed budget and see if it works.
Having said all that, we spent 3 hours going through this budget one line at a time. That's 19 pages, folks. It's thick and it's very in-depth. And to sit here and go through it now, well, just to match numbers, took us 3 hours the other day. So I'm asking you to do it. Please let us know. Bring your comments, bring your questions, bring your ideas. Drop them off with Susan or Eric or somebody else at the front office. Mail them to the office. We're going to have another budget committee meeting at 2 o'clock next Tuesday, not tomorrow, but next Tuesday after that, where we want to get and compare all the ideas you people have and all the questions and concerns so that we can make this thing final, hopefully, when we have the next council meeting. My hope is to have this approved before Thanksgiving.
And you can talk to me too.
You can give it to any one of us. Real quick, I want to go through that other sheet of paper you'll find in your package, and it's called Shoals Budget Bottom Line.
It's on the left-hand side of your folders. You put those separate on the left-hand side.
Under the general fund, you'll see a revenue of $1,616,695. Our calculated expenses for the year for the general fund is $1,380,995, leaving us an overage in the black for $235,700. Now, of that, you'll see down below there recommended set-asides. The AML recommends we take 10% of our gross income every year and set it aside so we can actually function a full year without 1 penny of income. We would be able to cover everything. If you look at this, we are talking about having about $2.9 million in the bank sitting there idle with nothing to do. We decided that we could only probably set aside safety this year 5%, which comes to $80,835. The 10% would have been $161,670. The bottom line figure, if we take away the $80,000, is $154,865. Water and sewer, $1,233,000 revenue. The expense is $1,197,635, leaving us in the black for $35,363. We don't have enough money there to set aside anything. And if we look at the bottom line, we have $35,363 in the black. You're going to see in that handout on water and sewer where we recommended for 2025 $5,000 under sewer department for contract labor. For 2026, we recommended $20,000 for contract labor under the sewer department and $5,000 under water department. Folks, we need to be real, we need to be serious. $20,000, $55,000, I don't care It's not going to take care of all the sewage problems we currently have in this city, but until those flow meters we've installed move and tell us where the problems are, we can't even guess or speculate how much it's going to cost to fix that. We can't even get a ballpark, so we put $20,000 in there to start with. It's not going to be enough, folks, and that's honest. That's part of the reason why people are saying we need a public works director, because one man sitting in the back office can only do so much. We need somebody to step up and that can handle the daily running of our infrastructure. I just got off the boil water order here the other day because of the water main leak over in my area. We've got issues that need to be dealt with, and they're not getting dealt with on a piecemeal basis. It doesn't work. Now, I can tell you right now, we can throw rocks at the past. I can blame it off on Nixon and everybody after him up until current time. That's not going to get fixed. And that's just kicking the can down the road, making other people look at it. It's time for this city to step up and make the changes it needs to fix it. We've already done smoke testing, we've already got the flow meters installed, but we need a really good storm to show us where the problems are so we can make changes. It's time to kick the cans. It's time to get it dealt with. Like I said, 20,000 set aside for it, 35,000 extra under water and sewer isn't going to be enough. We're probably going to have to look for grants, we're going to have to look for outside assistance, and we're going to have to take money from the general fund and move it over. And that's part of the reason why we said only 5% set aside instead of 10. That's the bottom line. People like to call the word bottom line. Okay? I'll expect your, hopefully I'll get your comments. Yes, sir.
With all that being said, it sounds like we need a very experienced person for that public works director.
Yes.
And if they're being paid the salaries you all are getting paid, it doesn't sound like we're gonna get somebody very experienced.
Well, if they're making more than $100 a month, they're making more than I'm making.
Well, there you go. It sounds like you need to really get out there and get somebody.
We do. We need to make this work.
Yeah.
So,
Seriously.
is there money in the budget for?
We have still in the general budget in excess of $154,000 that we could use to open up that position and to fund it. But as it is right now, this budget is written on what we currently have. It's not written on what we could add to it later. Okay? What the project process is that even though this budget gets approved, it's not a done deal. We're going to meet frequently throughout the year to make sure it's up to date, and we need any changes we need to get made. We're looking at already meeting with in January with the 2025 figures to see how we ended up, the actuals versus our budgetary changes we made in the last 3 months, to see if any red flags go up and we need to make changes. And we're currently planning to meet at least once a quarter to see throughout 2026 to see how we're lining up. Do we need to make changes? Do we need to submit resolutions to keep it accurate? And I'm sorry, but it's visible to anybody that wants to look at it. We want transparency. We don't want hidden figures. Part of the reason it took this long is because of the magic math our people before us had used, and things that this council voted in because we didn't have accurate data.
I want to say something about that, just in general. I want everybody to understand that's out there that these are real numbers. These are numbers that are real. We can back them up. We can prove them. We can compare them. You can look at them. That's why we went through the effort of making all these folders so that everybody could look at them. These are real numbers. These are not numbers that we just made out of thin air. And, you know, there's been a lot of accusations and a lot of people saying, oh, well, you know, I want to see the numbers. I want to see how they work. I want to report. I want this. I want that. Well, here it is. These are solid numbers. And a lot of people worked really hard on these numbers and a whole lot of meetings running through things to where we went through it over and over and over and over again. These are real numbers. And I just want everybody to understand that. This is not just the budget committee making it look good or doing whatever. You know, there's areas where it doesn't look good. And we get that. You know, we had to deal with that. But there's areas that are good, there's areas that need improvement, sure. But at least we know where we are. We're not going to come to you and say, oh, we had a data breach, oh, we had a flood, oh, you know, the dog ate my homework. This is it. The dog didn't eat our homework. This is our homework. And a lot of people worked really hard. One in particular I'd like to point out is Tony Reynolds. He did yeoman's duty, far more than he needed to do. And I'm happy that he did because he made the committee work. Linda Fawcett, who's been ill lately and hasn't made the last meeting, she did a ton of work. Everybody worked hard to get these numbers, and these are real numbers.
Don't forget Marty.
Marty and I were the comic relief in the committee.
Occasionally.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people worked on this. I want y'all to realize that. This isn't just made up stuff. This is numbers that we can't back up. Paula has worked tirelessly, making copy after copy, revision after revision after revision on top of revision. I mean, it was crazy. So, you know, these are real numbers. That's why we're presenting them. That's why we're making this easy for everybody to understand. This is what transparency means.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Hutchinson, Councilman Nolan.
I've been here since 16, and I haven't been involved in the government like I am now. I don't ever remember seeing a handed out budget. I could be wrong about that. And where people had actually worked 4 days per month. And Randy, you just done an outstanding job. Agreed. Couldn't have done it without actually. Kevin and I could have done it. That's for sure. And the mayor is involved. Yes.
Well, the mayor's not here, that's the applicant. And my he says yes.
So unfortunately, I will be out of town starting Wednesday. I won't be able to attend the budget meeting, but I did have a moment to kind of just go through a couple things. And there's a couple line items, and I don't want to go deep into it until we get full public scope on this, but if you're trying to have it passed by Thanksgiving, then I got some questions. Okay. 6350 on the city statement of revenue and expenditures. It says our actual year to date is just about 3,400. The line item is dues, licenses, and subscriptions. We were previously budgeted for 5,100. We've only spent around 3,400. Why did we increase the budget to 6,300?
A lot of the line items did not match up. So we eliminated some line items and moved them up into other ones, so it was combined into some other things that it made sense binding them into, because you can have, we have 3,100 in this line item, 5,000 in this line item. It just kind of made it easier to understand.
So are you saying that those line items have now been introduced to line item 6350? They have been combined. So wouldn't that show a higher year-to-date already than 3,400? And if we're increasing it to 6,300, why would we do that?
I don't want to have to dig through it right now, but if you don't want to, I'll give it to you. You can have a copy and look at it.
I unfortunately don't have time before Thanksgiving to do that with you. That's why we have workshop.
Okay, well, I don't have all the facts in front of me and you.
I know, but it's simple, and I'm not trying to be inquisitive or anything here.
Yeah.
It would seem to me that if we needed to increase the budget and we've already combined the line item, then those numbers would be closer
We
together.
did not combine them before the money was spent this last year. So what you see is not exactly what we've already spent, because they didn't combine all the line items for the expense. We couldn't. It was spent on line items on the old budget.
And I think there was a line item for some things, so you have some things that maybe you never even knew about that were being spent on
Hey, I'm just asking,
Yeah.
is there any possibility here, both?
No, what we're trying to do is, what we tried to do is take a look at the original budget we approved back in January and make sure all that made sense on here. We have to do a lot of shifting around. I'll have to look at it and get in depth.
Okay.
But then
Well, I'll send over an email with the
Send me an
notes, but
email.
I mean, like I said, I'll be out of town to pick up the bill for our next meeting, so until I can get across into service again, I won't have an opportunity to really go over it. So, for instance, 6620 on the same, revenue expenditure.
what's it under?
Insurance, building and land for city statement of revenue and expenditures. Under 6620, insurance, building and land.
What department?
Down the bottom.
City.
Down the bottom.
Oh, business expense, excuse me. So for insurance, building and land, we have budgeted for 2025, 3,300. We have now spent slightly over 5,500, and yet we've only proposed a budget for 3,500 for that.
Just because ALS dropped off insurance, because we had to pay that was part of it, was we had to pay the $4,000 because we didn't get it taken care of, we didn't get it.
I thought the $4,000 was tax.
$4,000 was taxes. The insurance, because the police department did not move over there, we have to absorb the ALS. Okay.
Right.
And that became recent.
So that boosted up to what we spent in 2025, but it goes away in 2026. So that's why the drop.
Because we don't have to pay property tax.
Exactly.
All right, here's the big one. 7520 solid waste contract. From what I understand, that's a yearly thing, correct?
Right.
So, our annual budget, we had it budgeted for 2,400. For our actual year to date, we're at almost 15,000, and yet we still only budgeted 2,400 for next year. We're gonna have to pay that again, aren't we?
What we did is if you go back to farther in the package, you'll see a solid waste page. It will tell you that we are going to pay $188,000 this year for solid waste contract. What we're trying to do is put it where it belongs. If it was for the city, for this building, it falls into this building. If it's for ALS, it belongs there. We're trying to make sure it's understandable and where it belongs, not just all on one line item.
Yeah, I'm just asking because I'm not gonna get the opportunity from sitting in a, field somewhere.
When you take what we passed in January, and you try to put it into this kind of, it's a piece of work.
Oh, hey, I've been to the meetings, I know I've missed a few due to my work schedule in the last couple months, but, these are still questions that anyone who got this down can
And
ask.
I do appreciate it, I really do.
And I do represent a few of those people out there, so.
Just a couple.
Yeah,
I circled them and I'll get back to you.
thank you. All right, our parks, for our insurance, Dan user, point return, so line item starting at expenses for parks, 6,600 down to 6,640. Have we combined insurances on point return in Browns Beach? Because it shows that we have almost $700 insurance at Browns Beach, but now we've only budgeted $250.
What we did is we separated them out because it was all basically under one park insurance policy. But we also made two departments out of parks because Dam Lake Park now has its own budget.
So what about Browns Beach? If we're spending $687 in insurance, why are we only budgeted $250?
I'm still looking
No, I just, and like I said, I'm not trying to be inclusive here, I'm just not gonna get many chances to ask that.
Yeah, no.
Or shot before, it's on the agenda, on
If you look at it, all the insurance was paid through Downside Park, it wasn't paid through the individual sources themselves. But when we split it out, we still had money we had to pay for those this year, because it wasn't the end of the year.
Can you show me where that is? Because as far as I can see, these are all different line items.
They weren't. They were all under Downside Park.
They weren't before.
They weren't before. We split them out on this year, during the year. Because if you look at the line item up above it, it says Downside. We set aside $1,200 for insurance. We do zero because we've been paying it on separate line items.
But if you go to the dam site packet, the dam site packet, it'll show you that we moved that 1,200 over to that one.
What we're trying to do is keep Downside away from the rest of them.
I understand that, so I'm obviously not an accountant, but this doesn't make sense to me. If they were all together and we were paying through everything through dam side, is what you just said, right?
But that, it's too big of you.
Yeah, but I mean, just looking at the basic numbers here, I'm showing here for dam side park by itself, we paid $1,431.71. Now, I understand we've taken it away and done its own thing, but then there's the rest of these that don't equate to that number. They equate to more. But Paula said she'll get back to me on the thing. And that's
Yeah,
fine.
the reason I'm trying to explain it as easy as I can, but I'm kind of, because that $1,200 came from the January budget, not from the one we just passed.
That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying
No, I'm
is
saying-
that the proposed budget for what we have doesn't make sense to the numbers that you're projecting, right?
I see.
Okay. I'm just, anyone at home can see this, so I'm making it
No,
nice and
and I
clear.
understand.
We're gonna sit here and talk transparency and numbers, you know.
Can I ask a question? Why did you split the parks and the insurances? Wouldn't you get a better rate combining them?
Just put them on paper.
We split them on the paperwork, not on the policy. The reason we wanted to split Downside Park out from the rest and make it stand by itself is Downside Park made almost over $40,000 this year. The rest of the parks were a deficit.
And in the meetings that I was at, there was a lot of that going on. A lot of things in the past were just jumbled together, and to make each department more accountable and to find out why this is that and that is this.
For bookkeeping
Yes,
purposes?
it's all about that. And so the more you can break it down and separate it, in my opinion, I'm not an accountant either.
No, I agree.
The more you can figure out what happened to that line item, where did that go, what's going on there. If it's all together, it's hard. It used to be the mayor's pay, the clerk's pay, the recorder's pay, on the same line.
It was all on the same line.
It was all on the same line with one number on the end. So you look at that and this, and it's like 1,000% because I looked at the old budget and it was a bunch of nonsense. So I really want to sit down. This is a bad idea.
Maybe, maybe never been in budget meetings and done anything else, but I'm picking up from all this conversation, I think, is that 25 is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it, we can track it, and say here it is, it's done. And we're in transition to a better system, a better budget, a better setup in 26. So there's a certain amount of confusion with that transition, is what I'm hearing.
And in January, we signed the budget, that even at that January meeting, I was not alone, when we passed it, him and I and several others went to the mayor and said, this doesn't work. Well, in August, we went through 3 departments for 25. passing resolutions to fix that. In September, we did 4 more departments and fixed that. We've gone through every department now, done the best we could with the 25 budget, so we have a foundation to build the 26 budget on.
I'm going to guess.
I realize what's happening here.
Me too, it's a line off.
It's a line off.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
It's a line off.
it's okay on the.
Oh, okay.
It's just pushed up one on the actual.
Oh, hi,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and
So
I.
everyone at home, bring it down the line. Sorry, Stephanie, but I was like, why?
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, if you guys are happy with where you're headed as far as for 26, we're gonna have everything where you want it to be. Then actually, we're gonna have to start with 26 as being the most accurate or whatever you've got going forward.
Yeah.
We can't use the 26 budget to explain what happened in 25. I
No,
mean,
you
it's
can't.
just, and that's where the confusion is occurring. And so, I guess, simple plan to me would be, is money where it's supposed to be, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're in the black.
And we're black, and let's close out 25, and we'll concentrate on making 26 a hell of a lot better than what we had in the past. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to say great job. I wasn't trying to.
No.
There are questions that I'm going to have that I know other people are going to see too.
And that's exactly why we submitted this, is
That's why we gave them out.
to give everybody a chance to ask questions.
But thank you. This is a lot of data that we haven't had prior to this.
I'll fix that typo.
You and I both looked at it, neither one of us got it.
Sorry, you guys are looking at a lot of numbers. I know everyone at home thinks we're all supposed to be rocket scientists up here. But I gotta-
Anything else?
I'm good. I will leave the floor to everyone else at this point. Thank you.
Stick the fork in me, I'm done.
Citizens, or anything else on budget?
Not yet.
Not yet. We'll catch it later. On to citizens' comments.
If cases closed on that property in April, as we hope, how long before they're operational?
That's something I don't think anyone would be comfortable saying yet, just because there's a lot of things at play.
Do you think they'll be operational in 2026?
I would say by the fact that we already have layout plans, building plans come next, I would say there's a very strong chance that if everything goes 100% the way it should, there will probably be groundbreaking by next year. I would have to assume, I mean, they're not going to want to drag their feet any longer on buying a big piece of property. And it's not like we're dealing with a mom and pop shop here too.
No,
This is like,
The April dates is the outside day.
yeah, that's.
I mean, they can close earlier than April.
But it would be, so many things can happen in real estate, and we'd be wild to say this is a done deal.
I was just thinking, your budget may be different if they.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of things that are, because we're not talking about bank accounts and we're not matching bank account numbers and everything else, because that's craziness. Because we got so much money set aside for tower projects and everything else, to try to go through all that, it's already spent.
Yeah.
All right.
When you say close, but there's an expect closing in April, is that between Casey and who?
Private entity.
The owner of the property.
Owner of the property,
Okay.
real estate agent, we're not involved.
So it's a real estate closing.
Yeah.
I just want to say with tomorrow being Veterans Day, those who have served, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Pam, and everyone else. I got one quick statement. Has anybody thought about this selling this payless, going to rid of quick selling and put that money into infrastructure? Get this out of the city.
Well,
Solars, is there a fan?
as far as I know, it's still a slight headache on our end with getting the rest of the equipment out and the property cleaned up.
So from what I understand, we're still kind of juggling that.
So where we're at with the property, the big pieces of machinery have been removed. The upper building is now ready to be cleaned out. The people that bought the big pieces of machinery have agreed to come back and clean out the building. They gave us an opportunity to
Your house that it is cleaned out completely now.
Oh, is it?
White building is completely.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Thank you, Phil. I didn't realize. I hadn't been in there in a little bit. But they gave us an opportunity to go in and glean anything out of there we wanted for the city.
And the agreement was for them to come and finish cleaning up and they didn't do it.
Okay, all right. Well,
We got the money, right?
yeah, we did. We got the money. There wasn't really anything left worth getting out of there. They pretty much got everything that was worth getting out. So, and now the lower building, probably not in this council meeting coming up, but in the December council meeting, everybody on the council will have a little packet of all the other equipment. I photographed all the other equipment so we can put it up on government whatever we use to sell stuff. And all the equipment that we're selling on the lower building has been cataloged, and we will vote on putting that stuff up for surplus sale, and then that building will be ready to be cleaned out. There's a lot of just useless junk in there, boxes that they use to package shotgun shells, very specific items for reloading stuff that everything that is useful, we're going to keep. Everything that the city needs or everything, because there are some tools, there's some printers, there's a couple of laptop computers. I know some of the department heads have said they wish they had a newer laptop, and there are a few of them down there that are functional. So we're going to go through all that stuff, but it's all been photographed and cataloged along with serial numbers. I'll be submitting all that stuff. We have to vote to surplus it, and then that stuff will get out of there. And then we can really start to think about what to do with that building. Unfortunately, it's not just as easy as just selling it. I mean, there's a whole lot of emotion with it, there's a whole lot of everything that's wrapped up in that building. And I wish, Keith, that it was that simple just to put it up for sale and just go. But I have talked to private individuals here in town that have had some really solid ideas about what to do with that building that would be something good for the community. But until it's empty and until we can market it or do whatever, we've got to figure that out. People are saying, oh, why don't you put more advertising up, like, there were advertisements up on the little white building. Well, that's great, but if we put the advertising up, then we have to start paying property tax on it. So, everything sounds really easy until the devil's in the details. But, I think everybody that's been involved with that project is trying to figure a way out. Phil, I'm sorry.
Also, if anybody needs firewood, there's plenty of firewood here, help yourself. Plenty wood there.
Yep.
You need to split it all out. Any other citizen comments? I would like to look for a motion to adjourn. Second.
That's a record.
I don't want it. What? Yes. You know what, you reviewed all that, and I'll do the chief review. And I'm sorry I didn't